Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Shannon with Shannon's Crafty DIYs. Today I have a really fun winter DIY to share with you, and I've got one fun trick on how to open up pine cones as well. So watch the whole video, it is super fun. Now I know, we just finished, Christmas, so I did a lot of Christmas DIYs, I did a lot of Christmas haul videos. Now I figured, Valentine's and Easter are coming up, and I've got a lot of great DIYs in mind for those. But first I wanted to share with you guys a couple of winter DIYs. I know, Christmas is over and then we all think, okay, what do we do now? But I feel like January and February always get missed. In Canada, as you guys all know, all you Canadian friends know, January and February are always the coldest months of the year. So I just wanted to make it a little bit more fun and, inviting into our home as well to just create some nice winter decor. Now, that being said, I just figured since it's a winter theme today, I wanted to wear this new sweater that I got from Christmas. Actually, this was a Christmas present to myself. I ended up getting it at Winners when it was open, and I can't remember the brand, but I just love this so much. The fleece in this is so soft. There's fleece that's soft, but then there's fleece that's like super soft. Anyway, that's what this reminds me of, and I love the thick straps as well. And yeah, I just love it. And then I've got like the little pockets as well. And and here's Jackson for a little visit also. Anyway, so that being said, guys, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also click the bell button right beside it. That way you will be notified every single time I upload a new video. And also, if you guys could just give it a big thumbs up, it just helps to support my channel, and I would love it forever. And all right, so let's begin this fun winter DIY. So for this project, I'm just going to repurpose this wreath that I made in the spring. And so I'm just going to take off the old flowers. And I love the fact that it was white already, so I didn't have to paint it or anything. But I am going to cover it with this jute twine that I already had on hand. As you can see, it is already unraveled. And I think this, to me, I didn't even measure it out. It was already this length. And I think it's going to go around the wire frame pretty nicely and pretty accurately. So all I'm doing is just wrapping it around several times around the frame, as you see me doing here. It does take a couple minutes to get it all wrapped around completely, and I'm just sealing everything with some hot glue. You'll see at the end of this DIY how I opened up these pine cones. So I'm just going to take 3 of the pine cones that I made, and I wanted to give them that winter snowy look. So I'm just going to use some white acrylic paint from the Dollarama, and I'm just going to go generously over the pine cones. Now you guys can put as little or as much as you like. This is very customizable. I just wanted it quite covered, but you do still see some of the brown underneath, which I love because it still gives you that little bit of dimension. So I'm going to do that to all 3 pine cones. They're all dry, and how I did that was just using my hair dryer, and that way it just dried everything within minutes. So now I can continue on the DIY. So now I'm just kind of putting everything to where I want it. I wanted the pine cones to be a little bit staggered, so all different lengths or heights as you want to put it. And so I'm just using some of the leftover jute twine that I had from that string. So that's awesome. I had enough left over even after wrapping it all around the frame. So just put it to where you want. I'm just kind of making them, the long pine cone and then 2 small ones a little bit higher than the long one. And then all I'm going to do to attach the pine cones is just using some hot glue. The fact that the pine cones are super light, the hot glue holds these pine cones really, really well. So now that you have the pine cones glued to the lengths that you want, I'm just taking some of these pine picks that I got from the Dollar Tree. And now these are all just the leftover scraps that I've had from the DIYs at Christmas. So these are, again, leftovers. So I'm just cutting off any excess. And, if you don't really like the way they are, I love the bunches of 3 here, but some of them look a little off to me. So if you need to, you can just cut each stem separately and hot glue them back together again, if that makes sense. So for the a larger pine cone, I'm going to take 2 bunches of 3 stems together and hot glue that to the big pine cone. I was just about to say pineapple. And then on these smaller pine cones, I'm just going to take 2 little stems and hot glue those to the tops of the small pine cones. And then I had this, remember this decor pick, it's called, with some of these frosted pine cones. So they're a lot smaller. So I'm just going to cut off a few of those and add them to the top of the pine cones. So the smaller pine cones, I'm just going to add 1 small pine cone, and to the larger pine cone, I'm just going to add 3 small pine cones. That is a lot of pine cones in that sentence. So now I'm just taking some of the burlap ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree. This was last year, even before I started my YouTube channel. So I'm super excited that I get to finally use it. And I love this ribbon too because it is wired. So whenever you fluff up your bow, it always stays in place, which I love. So you'll just see here how I'm making the bow. So now I'm just gonna, it's up to you guys what you want to do with the ends of your bow. You could either just cut them on an angle, or I love to do the dovetail look at the bow. I just feel like it looks a little cuter that way. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and fluff up the bow, and then I'm just going to hot glue it to the bottom of the wreath form, just overlapping the bits that I hot glued, like the ends of the jute twine to the frame, just to make it look clean. Oh my gosh, guys, I am so happy how this turned out. I think it is so beautiful. It just screams January and February, the coldest months of the year, especially to us Canadians. I'm just showing you this option, and I'm going to show you another option too. I had a white, it was a wooden snowflake that I painted white that I added just to the center of the bow. So again, you guys, this is customizable to what you want. I hope you guys enjoyed this DIY. Stick around. I'm going to show you guys how I open up all these beautiful pine cones that I got to use today. I got this bag of lovely pine cones from my boss's mother, and at first I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these because they weren't open, but you guys know me and my DIYs and crafty. I always have to come up with a solution. So I just decided to Google and try and see if I can open up these pine cones myself. So all I did was just dump everything out, wipe everything with a paper towel. And in order to clean them and take off any sap or anything like that, you have to wipe or rinse with a little bit of white vinegar. So it says a half a cup, but it really depends on how many pine cones you have. So I just use a 1/4 cup white vinegar and warm to hot water, as hot as you can get it, in the sink, and just fill it up to how much you think that is going to fill or overlap the pine cones. So I just let these soak for 30 minutes. That's all you needed. And you can see here that it all drained quite nicely. It's just the red sap from the pine cones. So just drain everything, rinse everything really well. I did decide to put it in a strainer, but at the same time, I just thought, well, that's not really going to dry everything quickly because it was all overlapping each other. So I just took everything out, laid everything flat on a couple pieces of paper towel. And it says to let air dry for about a half an hour to 1 hour. And I think because when you bake them, you don't want them to be super dry because you don't want them to burn as well. So what I'm going to do now, again, this was a little more time consuming, so you can see here I have new clothes on. I probably did some other things throughout the day, and I'm going to line a baking sheet with some foil, and I'm going to line everything up on the largest baking sheet that I had, and I'm going to set my oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it does say to do these in batches because, I mean, they all fit on the sheet right now. It's because all the pine cones are all closed. But what do you think is going to happen when they open up? So the instructions said 1 to 2 hours. This was only 2 hours, and I got some that were open, not many, but you see here that half of them maybe like open at the bottom, but they were still quite tightly closed. So I actually went back in the next day and did another 2 hours at 250. So since they were all dry at this point, I just sprinkled them lightly with a little bit more water, again, just so they didn't burn. But how gorgeous are these? They turned out so perfectly. And again, as the 2 hours went, some of them opened faster than others. So the ones that were opened, I would take those out of the oven and just place them on a tray. And then that way I had more room for the other pine cones to open. And remember guys, every oven is different. So even though my instructions say 1 to 2 hours, it took me 4 hours for all these pine cones to open. But anyway, guys, I had so much fun doing this DIY and showing you this fun trick on how to open pine cones. Please, I would love it if you guys could join my YouTube world, hit that subscribe button, and also give it a big thumbs up just to help to support my channel. I do post videos every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and I would love it for your lovely comments and compliments, whatever you guys could give me as far as feedback. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.